What's up, card fighters? BOTCG here, and I wanted to post my GRAMGRACE SEIG deck profile. I technically went X1 with it at Haven Tabletop Games local. Shout out to them. They're located in Castleberry, Florida. They host Best of One D Standard at 6:30 every Thursday, so go ahead and check them out. Don't forget to also like, comment, and subscribe. You want to see more content like this in the future. I was given my last round. Like, he gave me the match because like he was X2 and there was no way he could top, even though technically he did win that match. So technical X1, but kind of like just like 1-2'd. But I was really happy with the deck construction of it, so I did want to go ahead and profile this now. I only made one minor change to the deck, but it's one of those. It's just like Favrenio, towards like the Vanguard is really strong, but it doesn't have enough great rearguard support to back the deck up. So unfortunately, we're having to play with a bunch of generic cards to try to fill up the slots, and it's strong in what it's trying to do, but what it really is lacking is more just like in archetype support cards to just like patch up the holes that this deck has, unfortunately. But we're gonna go ahead and go into it. The reason that we're playing this ride line is Maple, grade 1 Maple in the ride line is free. It's a free way to help activate his double Persona Ride ability, which, if you don't know, GRAMGRACE has an ability, continuous, when you Persona Ride. Persona Ride is also applied to the back row. So basically, like, your front row gets 10k and your back row also gets 10k, and this is a free way of enabling that. Blaster Blade is also technically free. It's a CB1 for a pop or it's a CB1 for a draw, just basically depending on what your opponent wants to do. It depends on like how your opponent commits, because they're not gonna know you're running this ride line for GRAMGRACE. So it's like, it really just depends on if your opponent wants to, if you can punish your opponent for being aggressive, or you can punish your opponent for not being aggressive, I guess. But yeah, let's go on into the archetypal cards. 3 copies of Persona Ride. This deck does revolve around Persona Ride. It does have like a little bit of a mini loop, to whereas you could always like access whichever grade 3 you need from your soul with one of the grade 1 support cards. But yeah, 4 copies of GRAMGRACE SEIG. 4 copies of Soaring Knight. This is what Soaring Knight is what makes, and GRAMGRACE's Energy Blast 3 ability is what makes this deck, like, you want to hard go second with the, like, blind go second with this deck no matter what, is because if you go second, you get that +1 drive and 10k added to your Vanguard off of Soaring Knight, and you get that crit on your Vanguard and on Soaring Knight off of GRAMGRACE SEIG. So like basically, by itself, you're swinging for 23 with a crit if you're going second with Soaring Knight, if you don't have any of your grade 2 pumpers, and 23 with a crit at your Vanguard, +1 drive, triple drive, if you have none of your pumpers. But yeah, 4 copies of this. There's no like in-archetype way of searching him, so this is the reason why you want to max out on copies of him. Again, once you get 1 in soul, you're able to basically like always keep him in rotation, but there is no way of searching him as of right now from deck. 4 copies of Dyphon. What Dyphon does is whenever a grade 3 unit in the middle column attacks, he pumps up that unit until the end of battle. So this is what pumps up your GRAMGRACE SEIG and pumps up your Soaring Knight. It turns that 23 with a crit to 28 with a crit. It turns it into 33 with a crit if you have 2 of them, and he's a 25k attacker for just 1 counterblast if you attack 2 times or more in the middle column. So yeah, solid support. It's really solid in what the deck wants to do offensively. Again, we just need those cracks filled up with a little bit more support. I know GRAMGRACE is getting that grade 3 promo. It helps, but unfortunately it needs a little bit more support than that, in my opinion. But I really do like the composition of the deck as of right now. 4 copies of Soaring Wind. She's what lets you loop your grade 3s, is at the end of turn you can retire her from the back row to grab a grade 3 from Soul and add it to your hand. Really good. You're kind of, sort of, really good at making like a pseudo disappearing board at the end of your turn. and that's really good in this format, considering there are stuffs that just like blow up your board, like Varga. So yeah, this is unfortunately the maximum amount of GRAMGRACE support cards that we can actually run, because the only other GRAMGRACE card is a grade 2 that's on play Soul Charge, and it gets 5k, and that's unfortunately not good enough in this climate of Vanguard. One copy of the Regardless piece. This is really good because we don't have a way of searching from deck, and it's a really good discard target as well, since we're discarding cards off of Soaring Knight. So yeah, this one copy of the Regardless piece definitely has come in clutch. 4 copies of Suggest, since Dyphus and Soaring Wind both care about grade 3s either in Soul or in your middle column. Just playing the Suggest made sense. It helps sculpt the top card of your deck, so that it just helps you with your drive checks. This deck is kind of reliant on what it drive checks. It's a very offensive pushing type of deck, but unfortunately we just kind of like have to lean into that right now. 4 copies of the Keter and the Strikea Dual Nation card. Originally, this was the Keter and the Brankey Dual Nation, because we didn't have any ways outside of the Firegal to search from deck, but I found that this was just way better in the early game, to whereas I don't have as much Counterblast to expend, to whereas I can still call this and do something. Like, just calling this and having that, like, being able to like look at the top card of your deck, whether to keep it or not, is like so clutch in the early game. Like, you live off of that with this deck. Like, so that's the reason why I wanted to play 4 copies of her over the other card, is because I just want to be able to play cards that no matter what can do something in any stage of the game. At least that was my thought process on it. 2 copies of Maple. Originally this was 1 copy of the discard grade 3 searcher. I didn't like this card because there was a lot of times where I had to discard it and I wasn't able to use it, or I called it on the field I wasn't able to use it, or it doesn't do anything in the early. And again, with this type of deck, I was a very big proponent of cards that I can use in any stage of the game to some sort of potential, and just this in the early doesn't do anything. So that's my main reason for cutting it. I wanted to add another Maple to my list over the original 1, just like boost up consistency of seeing it, since we have no way of tutoring it out from deck. And then our final card is 4 copies of Bradlark. Bradlark is really good in this deck because it uses up your excess energy, besides like the 3 energy you're using off of GRAMGRACE SEIG, and he helps you get back your discards off of Soaring Knight. So you're discarding off of Soaring Knight, or you're discarding from Ride Line. Bradlark helps with that, and he helps sculpt the top card of your deck as well. And that's it for the main deck. I guess we'll get on to the rest of the staples of the deck. 1 Elementaria, a lot of Stride decks running around right now. 3 DPGs. 1 of the Keter OT. The only reason we're playing the Keter OT in this list is because we're playing a lot of grade 3s, and it just makes sense. We're sculpting the top card of our deck. So playing the Keter OT, at least in this list, like, just makes sense. 3 copies of the effect draws. You're not drawing as much as with original GRAMGRACE, unfortunately, so we do need draw triggers in this list just to help keep us with the advantage. 4 into soul crits. You do use soul a lot in this deck. 4 regular crits, and then 4 regular heals. I would say that this is like a rogue deck that you can take to locals and like steal wins with at locals, but outside of that, yeah, I would just keep this at the local level, honestly. I think I had the same opinion of Favernale, unfortunately. They're very powerful Vanguard effects, but unfortunately they don't have the supplemental rearguard support to just help them boost and like get them over the edge. So like they're lackluster in rears when they have awesome Vanguard. It's very weird. I haven't run into Vanguard decks like this in quite a while, to whereas the Vanguard effect is awesome, but the rear guards are kind of lacking, which is quite strange. But let me know what you guys thought about the deck down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to see more content like this in the future, and I will see y'all later. Bye.